All right, just one more step now before we install Joomla on our server at our host provider. We need to create a database. And the reason we need to do that is because a database is what keeps everything referenced and stored properly. Whenever you add an image, whenever you add an article, that has to be filed away somewhere. And then when someone comes and searches for that article, it will be able to find your article because it has been referenced in a database. Without a database, there's no real way that you can create a website. And so we must take that step. But don't worry, it's not that difficult. We'll walk you through the steps. Just to open up your browser and start to type in your website address, as we showed in our last tutorial. And we see that the cPanel link comes up there. We can just click on that and log in, and we have arrived at our cPanel just like that. And what you're looking for in your cPanel is that section that's called Databases. Now, if you are in the other theme still, the X3 theme, your page is going to look a little different, and you might have to search a little bit for that database. Here it is down here under Databases. And the link that you're looking for is MySQL Database Wizard or MySQL Database. Either one will work. And just going to switch back to the theme that I like here. And here they are here. We'll just click on that, and you are presented with a page that invites you to create a new database. You'll notice that your database comes with a prefix that is identical to your username. And then it has an underscore, and then you are asked to type in the rest of the name that you would like to call your database. And you can call it anything you like. I think I'll just call it VividMed, maybe 368, just to make it a little less obvious to the hackers. And some of you might be wondering, why am I showing the whole world the name of my database? Isn't that very insecure for the website that you're creating? And yes, it's true. You wouldn't normally want to expose your database like this and throw it up on the internet for everyone to see. Prior to all of my tutorials going live, I of course will go in and change the name of everything, change all the passwords, so that the information I'm showing here will no longer be valid. All right, so once you've got a name that you like, just hit the button Create Database, and you get the confirmation that it has been created. Hit the Go Back button, and you'll see that it shows up here as your first database. And usually you only need one database for every website, but you do have the ability to create more if you want. And you can also rename your database, as I just mentioned I might do, and you can also delete it. But before we move on, I'd like to recommend that you grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down this full database name, including the prefix, underscore, and then what you called it. And keep that in a safe place, because we're going to need it when we go to install Joomla. All right, and the next step then is to add a user. And you'll see again, it has the prefix already in place there, and you need to just give yourself a username. And I think I'll just call it Frank356, and give myself a password. Now you might notice that it indicates that the password that I chose isn't that strong. And a database is something that you don't want to get hacked. So I might go in and redefine my password just so that it is a little bit more difficult for some hacker to get into. So I'm going to try another. I want to see that go to 100%. There we go, 100%. Type it in again to make sure that we've got a matching password there. And we have successfully created a user. Let's go back one more time. There's one more thing that we need to do. We've got ourselves a database. We've created a user. And now one more step is we need to add the user that we just created to the database that we created. And you'll see the little add button there. And this might look just a little bit different in the older skin, but just look for something that will allow you to add a user to the current database. And what you want to do is click all privileges. You want to be able to do everything with this database. If you were to add another user, maybe a staff member that you wouldn't necessarily want to have all privileges, you might make some adjustments here. But for yourself, you want to be able to have all privileges. Okay, hit Make Changes, and then the Go Back button, and we now have ourselves a database, a user, and the user has been assigned to the database. And that is basically all you need to do to create a database to get ready for your Joomla installation. And in our next tutorial, we'll actually install Joomla at our server at InMotion Hosting.